This is Carlos Jimenez Flores, director of Mi Princesa, and you're listening to Harv Roman on WCGO 1590.
House music. Gotta have house music all night long. With that house music, you can't go wrong. Give me that house music to set me free. Lost in house music is where I wanna be. It's gonna set you free. Gonna set you free. It's 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 gonna set you free. Rock your body. Move your body. Rock your body. Move your body. Rock your body. Shake your body. Rock your body. Move your body. Rock your body.
Yeah, 1590 WCGO Radio in Chicago, where Chicago goes for Celebrity Hotline Conversations early on a Saturday morning. In the back of your head right now is from the 1996 compilation, The History of House Music Chicago Classics. That is Volume 1. So many good tracks on there. And most of them, I would say, inspired by the late Frankie Knuckles, the DJ, producer, house music personality who passed away I want to say, just after the last episode of WCGO Celebrity Conversations right here at 1590 AM. And he was a Chicago figure, born in New York, but came to Chicago and became a big producer and mix star right here at the Warehouse and at other spots. I remember sharing a building with him, sharing a stage with him at the History of House Music Concert number 3 at the House of Blues just a few years ago. And so I wanted to pay respect to the memory of Frankie Knuckles, who is no longer with us. And as we tape this program for airing on Saturday, the Ultimate Warrior, Jim Hellwig, has passed away in the last couple of days. And if you grew up as a wrestling fan, as I have, and I still am at the age of 50, it's kind of crazy. A day after he last appeared on TV, Jim Hellwig, the Ultimate Warrior, has also left us. What we're going to do today, it is a celebrity conversation with a classic club kid. Put in some time at Commercial Park, put in lots of times over at the Union League Boys and Girls Club too, and we have remained friends, and we have stayed in contact with Carlos Jimenez Flores, and his work is being featured at the Chicago Latino Film Festival. It is running now through April the 17th. That is the River East 21, 322 East Illinois, and a bunch of other venues. $12 is the average cost of that. Go to ChicagoLatinoFilmFestival.org, ChicagoLatinoFilmFestival.org for the Chicago Latino Film Festival information. I expect to be there on Sunday to see the latest from Carlos Jimenez Flores. That is entitled Mi Princesa. And guess who is on the Celebrity Hotline?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, we're doing okay. The cycle now has kind of gone full force. When you think about it, we're sitting at the Output Lounge, which is on Wood and Grand, and if you stepped off to Wood and Ray Street, you can look down the street and you're going to find the Boys and Girls Club that we both grew up in, the club that I had worked at and lived in for so many years, and then you spent a lot of time shooting pool, kicking soccer balls, and whatever else you did. So what is it like to come back to the area in which you grew up in?
It's so awesome. The Boys Club had a big impact in my early years, and so I have very good fond memories of the Boys Club, and to be in the area is just, it's weird. It feels like I just walked, back in time.
But it's also a little weird. I posted pictures because there's construction on Erie and Damon as we speak. There's construction on Ohio and Damon as we speak. And so what I like to do is I like to take pictures and I put them on my Facebook and I say, here, the new neighbors are coming. Here's an update. And then you'll have the old school saying, I remember Ganellas and I remember the smell of the bread and the neighborhood is changing.
I actually used to, every Saturday morning, my mom used to make me walk to Ganellas because I grew up on Damon and Augusta. And every Saturday morning I had to walk to Ganellas and on Damon and Erie and get some bread every Saturday morning. And
Pan largo.
pan largo. Man, it was so good. And they had these things, I forget what they're called, but they had like an anise flavor to them. They were like some breaded thing. I don't know.
There's two things that I'm recalling that you may or may not be talking about. They're Italian cookies with the kind of dab of frosting was one. And then they had these half moon things, these crescent type of cookies.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That oh my God, that's just. I wish I could have some.
I have no idea what flavor that was. It was a half moon, and it wasn't quite coconut, and it wasn't quite macaroon. You know what it's like? It's like when you tried to describe for somebody cerveza negra, the Puerto Rican pop. Somebody who hasn't had it, and you're trying to explain it to them.
I just call it Caribbean root beer.
I described it recently to somebody, and I said, well, it's kind of like Dr. Pepper, but it's thicker.
Right.
And they still didn't get it. But a Malta, to find a good Malta these days, and we talked about it because last week I was at my parents' house, and I go to the Puerto Rican store in Campbell and Division. They don't have any Maltas. They ran out.
Well, I'm not surprised, but did you ever have ponche? Did your parents ever make ponche?
I don't know. I don't think so, but I don't know.
My mom used to make ponche, and ponche is you take Malta, and then you take a raw egg, and you mix it, and then you add sugar. Now, I don't know what's that about,
Kind of
but I'm
Rocky
just glad
Balboa did you grow up with?
Yeah, I'm just glad I don't have diabetes.
Wow. No, I remember using it in ice cream. I don't remember putting raw eggs and sugar into a Malta, which is already...
That was our breakfast, man. That was the breakfast drink. Jumpstart your day.
It's interesting because when you talk about kids that grew up in the West Town area, when we grew up in the West Town area, and I just turned 50 this year, sometimes it's like saying Musafa because it was such an area that wasn't desired, so to speak, once upon a time. But I don't know if you feel the same way I do. The area that we came from, I never looked at as a rough area. I mean, there were the gangs here and there, but I never thought like, wow, people are afraid to come to the area. But at one point, it was like that.
I mean, it was like that, but I think that we were fortunate to grow up in what may have been considered kind of like a neutral area, like a neutron zone, if you will. How they used to say, if you're not a gangbanger, you're a neutron. And so we had surrounding gangs. There were gangs around the surrounding area, but I think that we kind of were like in this air pocket that was basically protected, to be honest.
Well, in a way it was protected, but I remember there were boundaries too. Like
there were boundaries.
There were only certain streets and corners. In my case, I only went to Wells. In your case, from our previous interviews, you went to like 6 high schools. But in order to get to these schools, you told the story of having to kind of figure out your route to get to school, so you wouldn't run into the knuckleheads.
Right, I had to bypass. A 5-minute walk turned into a 45-minute walk because I had to avoid certain boundaries from certain gangs, and I didn't want gangs to think that I belonged to a rival gang member if they saw me walking from that block or that section.
This is kind of neat. When we re-met a couple of years ago, you were recruiting people to be in the I'm Puerto Rican and I do not do drugs video. It's still on YouTube. It's at 45,000 and some views. Is that what you envisioned when you set out to do this project?
No, that's awesome. I'm humbled by that number. It went viral real quick, and to me, no, I didn't envision that. I was just making a statement because I was frustrated, and I'm tired of the stereotypes that say that Puerto Ricans are either gangbangers or drug dealers or lazy or don't want to work or they just aspire to be on welfare, and I'm just tired of all of that.
Now that was done, I want to say in 2011, if I remember right.
2012.
2012. So it's only been 2 years, but in that 2 years, TV, which spurred that movement, has kind of done the same thing where they've done the occasional show that features a Latino and then after a 13-week run, you don't see it anymore.
Right.
And our buddy George Lopez, he bounced from ABC to TNT, and now he's on FX with his new show. For some reason, the Latinos still don't seem to have that foothold when it comes to the media. Now, I could be wrong, at least George still has shows, but when it comes to main network stuff, we're still not seeing it.
We're not seeing it. It's kind of difficult to get in the door. I just feel that once you're in, I think that in the beginning, some Latinos kind of play into the, there's this, there are certain, how could I say, molds that are created in Hollywood, and they have a vision of what they perceive a Latino to be. In this case, we're talking about Latinos.
Don't make me try another night. Tonight I wanna house you. Don't make me try another night. Tonight I wanna house you. Ain't no sense in you holding back, 'cause I know that you got the clue. I've been waiting here all day and night for you to make my body move. Don't make me try another night. Tonight I wanna house you. Don't make me try another night. Tonight I wanna house you. Don't make me try. Don't make me try. Don't make me try. Don't make me try.
But it goes true for all the groups, whether it's racial or sexual orientation or even male, female, certain, like, they don't even like females to have strong roles, which I do not understand, because I have a bunch of strong women that were influences in my life. And if you look at Hollywood, it's like they're always second fiddle.
Well, some of us only had female role models when it comes to Latino. There was no father figure, because
True.
too many times in the culture or in the hood, so to speak, the father figure either wasn't there or wasn't much of a father figure.
Right, and that was my case. And so my father left us when I was 12, and so my mom raised us by herself, and it was like she was my superwoman, and she held down 2 jobs, and she did the best that she could with what she had. And so, but if you look at Hollywood's version of what a woman is, it's hard to find, strong roles for females, and I want to do something about that, and so that's one of the things that I'm consciously aware of, and hopefully I can make some changes in the way people view women and Latinos.
It's interesting because in our cases, I wouldn't fit the prototype Latino for Hollywood because I don't have the accent. I might be well spoken. You can understand what I'm saying.
Right.
You might not fit because you're light skinned and you've got like the Puerto Rican Afro thing going on. They have their prototype that they want to follow, and they're forgetting that there's so many facets to Latinos, in terms of skin tone and hair and accent.
Right. No, I'm definitely too light skinned to be labeled Puerto Rican in Hollywood's eyes, which is ironic, but.
The last time we sat down for an interview, we talked about your Motel 666, which is interesting because within this neighborhood, 666 is a common prefix for a phone number. Eventually, how did that project do? I went to the Portage Theater. I went to support you, and it was a bloodbath. I didn't have a date, and I'm kind of glad that I didn't, because it was insane. So you went from doing kind of a documentary style tribute. I'm Puerto Rican, and I do not do drugs. Then you went to this lash. I remember posting, and I said, "What happened to Carlos between the commercial park and the Boys and Girls Club filmmaking? What happened to you? You got people killing each other, and now you've got mi princesa. Tell them Puerto Rican and proud. In which it's a nice story, and it's cultured, and it brings you back to the island that some of us have not even set foot in. So, how does Carlos's mind work that he's got so many different things going on, and each of them you're handling? You're handling well. You're scaring the stuff out of us, and you're making us proud as heck. And now with me, Princesa, apparently we're going to do some emotional crying too.
Absolutely. Um, well, I feel that we are all we all have talent, and so in the process of harnessing what you're best at. Um, One of the things that I want to do as far as the community, because I want to give back to the community, and so that's where I do my community work, and as far as the video of I'm Puerto Rican and I don't do drugs. That was just to let especially the young, to let them know that um, you don't have to succumb to the low expectations that society has. As far as Motel 666, I just love horror films. I grew up watching horror
I
films.
had no idea. I sat there and I said, okay, that person just lost their clothes. That means they're dying. And I'm thinking, what did we do to Carlos that who writes this stuff?
No, so you know, I grew up watching The Exorcist and The Omen and Rosemary's Baby and movies like that.
Have you
and
got a son yet?
No.
He'll be Damien, right?
He'll be Damien. If I do, I'll be checking his head for sure, the back of his head, to see if there's a 666. But that's where I love horror films, and so a part of me will always be making horror, to be honest. And so Motel 666 did pretty well. Right now we're
Did a
seeking.
bunch of film festivals, right?
It did a bunch of film festivals. It just recently played in. We went overseas. It just played in England, and it will play. It will play again. They requested to show the movie at a different festival in England in the fall, but it just played in January in England, and so it's played coast to coast in the United States, and we're doing very well right now. We're just getting ready to sign a distribution deal, and so hopefully you'll get to see it on Netflix. Or online or pay-per-view and all of that stuff. As far as Mi Princesa, I wanted to do a movie where my nieces, who are underage, have never seen any of my work because it's all been R-rated.
Right.
And they kept asking if they could see something. I'm like, no, you have to wait. You're too young to watch what I do. And I just felt bad about that. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to have to make a movie where they can watch it. And obviously, if I'm making a movie where an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old can watch, that means the whole family can watch. And so, Mi Princesa was born. So it's basically a romantic movie, a romance/drama. It's family friendly. There is no sex, no violence, no swear words. So there's no cussing. It's a very wholesome movie, full of great music. We have great music.
It was always fun reading your Facebook feed, because every now and then you would license the rights to a particular song,
Right.
and then you would say, man, I just secured this song for my movie, which I thought was pretty strong, because it's exciting for the artist who did the music, but it also seems like it's exciting for you to be given that music and giving
Totally.
somebody a break for it in some way.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I love music. Music moves me. It's a part of my life. And so, to secure music, first of all, we have Chicago talent as far as the soundtrack. So we have Angel Melendez and Orquesta 911. They lent us a song from their, he's a Grammy nominee.
He,
Kiss me like you kiss me, come and show me that you miss me, and do the things you never did before. Wrap your arms around me, I'm so happy that you found me, 'cause you're the one that I adore.
father of somebody else who's a club kid, Christina Melendez, used to work for me at Barreto. Her dad is Angel.
Okay, yeah. So we have one of his songs from his Grammy Award nominated CD. We also have a guy named Willie Torres, who was a member of the Spanish Harlem Orchestra, and he's won 3 Grammys, and he's been nominated 8 times. We have Robert Avellanet, who is a former Menudo member. When Ricky Martin was in the group, he was in the group with Ricky Martin, and he just released his first English solo album.
Wow.
And a song that's real hot, that's playing in Puerto Rico right now, When I Have You, is he gave us that for our movie, so that's in our soundtrack. Recording artist Ali Castro, who is Colombian, he lent us a tremendous ballad that I'm in love with, and that's gonna be in our movie as well. So we have a lot of great talent.
We're taping this, Sunday morning, and the Chicago Latino Film Festival just started this weekend. Our buddy Alonso's movie is showing as we speak, and then yours is coming up the weekend of the 13th, correct?
Correct.
What can you tell us about the Latino Film Festival? Because, yeah, it occurs, and it's occurred for the last 30 years, but in some ways, it's kind of still a secret.
Yeah, it is ironic because like the festival's been around for 30 years. I believe that it is the longest running Latino film festival in the United States. There's nothing like it, and Chicago has a huge Latino population, so there's a lot of support here in the city for it. But the industry is big. The Chicago Latino Film Festival is a big deal, and I remember before I even got into movies, and when I was younger, I would sometimes come to the festival and view certain movies that were playing if I was interested. So to have my film, be selected, be an official selection of the Chicago Latino Film Festival, and have it screened.
So it's a process. You just can't say, "Here's my movie, put it on."
Oh no.
So
No.
in essence, you had
it
to
has
audition.
to go. Yeah. It has to go through a selection process. They have a committee, and they view all kind of films, like hundreds of films, if not thousands. They view all these movies, and they choose, what they're gonna show in their festival, because they can't just show a movie just because I'm from Chicago. That doesn't mean anything. If I make garbage, that it's not gonna make the festival look good if they're showing, junk.
I guess that makes sense, but to the naked eye, Chicago, okay, let's just put them in. But they're looking for quality work, so they could have easily had said, "We're sorry, try again next year."
Oh, totally, absolutely. And I'm sure there's other Chicagoans that get rejected just as much as some get selected. But just because I'm from Chicago, it wasn't gonna happen. That's not the criteria.
But you are a filmmaker that have stayed home, and in the industry, the entertainment industry, there are so many that have left Chicago in order to make it, quote unquote. You've stayed grounded. A lot of things you do are based out of the Humboldt Park community. We're sitting in West Town now with the interview, so you're really conscious of your roots. Is there a point that you'll see yourself leaving, or do you always want to stay stationed here?
No, actually, I lived in LA for 3 years.
Oh, I didn't know that.
When I first started in my
Is
first
that when
movie.
you made that movie, Pendejo?
No, before that. Actually, I did a movie called Fastlane, and
I remember that.
yeah, so Fastlane was the first movie. I had moved out to LA at the end of 2008, and so I lived there for 3 years and decided to come back home. While I was in LA, I did 3 movies, and then came back home and started my own company and decided to start shooting here in the Midwest, and eventually, branch out to Puerto Rico. I want to do movies in Puerto Rico and Chicago / Midwest. But yeah, I want to stay close to home, stay close to the roots, stay grounded, stay humble, and very gracious. And the opportunities that I have here at home are just immense. And, the support of the community, the support of my friends and family is just, it's a blessing. And, I I wouldn't be able to be where I'm at if it wasn't for that support. And I appreciate Humble Park. I appreciate Chicago and all the things that it brings.
Now, Samuel did a voiceover, Betances, on You're Puerto Rican and Proud. In the movie, did you get him to do like a Vincent Price monologue and do an evil laugh and stuff?
No, not in this movie. Hopefully, sometime in the future, I can talk him into being in one of my movies. But no, he's to me, he's my mentor. He's my father. And I wouldn't be the man that I am today if it wasn't for his influence.
It's interesting that you talk about that, because too often when we look at what young people are up to, that seems to be the missing piece. If you didn't grow up in a club or in a park or something like that, if you didn't grow up with parents who were home because they were working or doing other things, there's a gap with some of these kids in terms of mentors, and then they wind up looking to Chris Brown, for an example, as somebody whose footsteps they want to follow. That's something that has to be changed, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, for the men out there, if you're not involved in your child's life, some other man will be. And so you have to ask yourself, what type of man do you want involved in your child's life that's going to influence them if it's not going to be you? And, it's a crapshoot. I mean, are you hoping that a positive male role model is going to step in and take your place?
Well, that's one of the most distressing things I see when I look at somebody's status and they're a single mom and they're proud and they wear both hats and they're the whole family, which is something to be proud of. I understand, but the male figure not being there, to me, mom could be both if she needs to be both, but there's something about these guys, and not all of them, of course, that not being involved, it does affect the kid, and for some reason they don't think about it. She is a legend of freestyle. She is in Chicago this weekend for the History of Freestyle concert. That is an event that is at the Concord Music Theater, and I am hosting that event. So if you are one of the few, well, I shouldn't say the few, there's going to be 1,500 of us there. If you're one of the 1,500 who are going to be there for an incredible lineup of freestyle music history, Cynthia will be performing that song, and I'm sure plenty of others. Cynthia's with Endless Night. We also heard from K7 with Body Rock. He, too, will be at the History of Freestyle event. We also heard Don't Make Me Tag. Tonight I'm Gonna House You. Remember that song? Very, very cool house track from Chicago. And also at the top of the hour was Marshall Jefferson and Frankie Knuckles with Move Your Body, which I needed to play at the top of the hour because it's only been a week or so since Frankie Knuckles left us at the age of 59, and I figured why not at minimum play a song and be able to talk about him for a few seconds, which we did that. My name is Harv Roman. This is AM 1590 WCGO Radio, where Chicago goes for celebrity conversations early on a Saturday morning. Carlos Jimenez Flores on the Celebrity Hotline. He is a former club kid turned movie producer, documentary producer. He does all kinds of cool things, and although he is rather successful now with Mi Princesa playing at the Chicago Latino Film Festival, go to .org for more information on that. He continually is available to us. He's visited the school that I work at. He's visited the Boys and Girls Club. He always comes back to the area, and he's a success story, so why not focus on those success stories? When we return, more with me, Carlos, and musical Stuff and Stuff.
Denzel Washington for the Boys and Girls Clubs. In my hand, I'm holding a 2-inch by 3-inch piece of paper that has changed the lives of millions of young people. It's kept them off drugs, out of gangs, and in school. Now, what could be that powerful and still fit in the palm of my hand? A membership card from the Boys and Girls Clubs. Every day, another 300 kids will join clubs all across the country. That's 300 kids who will be picking up a membership card instead of a gun or a needle or a knife. You know, too many people feel like they can't make a difference, but I'm telling you this. Put this card in the hands of a child and you will change that child's life. Do that and you can change the world. It's up to all of us. Support a program that works. The Boys and Girls Clubs, the positive place for kids.
For more information and to find out how you can support the Boys and Girls Clubs, call 1-800-854-CLUB. That's 1-800-854-CLUB.
Wake up. Wake up dancing. Wake up dancing. Wake up dancing. Harv Roman's gonna make you dance. Wake up dancing. Wake up dancing. Wake up dancing. Wake up, Harv Roman's gonna make you dance.
That's me right here at AM 1590 WCGO Radio, where Chicago goes for an early celebrity conversation. But if you miss any of this, if you weren't able to tune in to 1590 AM, if you weren't able to listen to the live stream at 1590wcgo.com, well, the podcast always premieres at www.wakeupdancing.com, and you can listen to it whenever you feel like it. If you're not able to do the radio thing or you're not able to do the online thing right now, just go to www.wakeupdancing.com and tell everybody. Because what I try to do is whenever I do these shows, I upload it there. But I also will admit that last month, January I should say, the whole website went down and everything got deleted, and all of those podcasts, all of those mixes, everything that I had up disappeared. So now I'm rebuilding it back up. And part of the rebuild is my conversation with Carlos Jimenez Flores. And I have to include a scroll call. I always do that. Erica Gonzalez checked in on the Facebook talking about her cousin being part of Me Being Says. I thought that's pretty cool. I'll say hello to her. Nadine, Maria, Tony, Jessica, Cindy, Jackie, Kayla, Peter, Melina. Jackie, by the way, is a teacher at Argo High School. And her student and me gonna go see Me Being Says. Very, very cool. Melina's on the LSC. Congratulations. Yaya, Nancy, Yvette, Carlotta, Mona, Thomas, Phil, Will, Anasali, Ephraim, Andrew, Denise, Jessica, who just came from Puerto Rico and was posting pictures making us all jealous, and Josephine, who used to work with us, or she's still at the Barreto Union League Boys and Girls Club, but she used to be one of me when I was the director there, and now she's one of her because I'm over here and she's over there, and I'm rambling on and on. Harley Engine's legit. It's new freestyle musical stuff. Yes, Legit has ties to the Boys and Girls Club. He was big during the late 80s, performing a few times and coming out and hanging with the kids and calling into the kids radio show that operated out of Loyola University. So why not play Hardy and Legit music right now? Right now, this is from the album Curtain Call. We will return with more. Carlos Jimenez Flores.
No, it affects, and you know, one of the unfortunate things in the community when you have, when you have a child that comes from a single parent home, is that those children, they don't know that there are options out there, and so if they come from a world where the only options they're getting are the options from the friends they make on the street and the family that is created on the street, then most often, those influences and those options are going to be negative ones. And so I was fortunate to kind of figure things out for myself when I was in the street and search for positive role models. And I was fortunate enough to have, you know, some people I could look up to, and that includes you as somebody who was at the boys club when I walked in through those doors at the age of 11.
You drop a pool ball, you're sitting 5 minutes, young man. One of the things it taught you discipline, and you too, are a role model and somebody who I respect and admire. And for that reason, I had invited you to the school, and you actually talked to some of the kids and you visited classrooms. When you do things like that, you get their full attention. What I remember about your visit was.
No, it affects, and one of the unfortunate things in the community when you have a child that comes from a single parent home, is that those children, they don't know that there are options out there, and so if they come from a world where the only options they're getting are the options from the friends they make on the street and the family that is created on the street, then most often, those influences and those options are going to be negative ones. And so I was fortunate to kind of figure things out for myself when I was in the street and search for positive role models. And I was fortunate enough to have, some people I could look up to, and that includes you as somebody who was at the boys club when I walked in through those doors at the age of 11.
You drop a pool ball, you're sitting 5 minutes, young man. One of the things it taught you discipline, and you too, are a role model and somebody who I respect and admire. And for that reason, I had invited you to the school, and you actually talked to some of the kids and you visited classrooms. When you do things like that, you get their full attention. What I remember about your visit was when the video popped up and you were on there, then I'm on it. Oh, I'm famous all of a sudden. Then there was an even bigger pop when you opened up your gym bag and you're bringing out these DVDs, because them seeing your name on a DVD, all of a sudden you jump in their eyes in terms of your status. Harvey brought him in, we got to listen to him. And then you remember they're passing around your
Right.
DVDs and they're getting geeked up about that. So, you're playing a role, and these kids saw you that day as somebody who now we want to be like that. We want to get DVDs out there.
Right. And I want to be a role model. I'm not Charles Barkley. I don't understand how people could be in the public eye and knowing that there may be that one child out there that says, man, I want to be like him, or I want to be like her. It is a responsibility. I want to sign up for that. I have signed up for that. So I am going to be a role model, and I'm going to be a positive role model.
It's been about 25 years since the peak of Michael Jordan being a Bull, and he was very famous for not having an opinion. He never spoke about anything. It could have been Martin Luther King Day. It could have been whatever was affecting the community. And they were at the Chicago Stadium, and the Chicago Stadium was not the United Center. And sometimes he took heat for not taking a stand for some of these things that were happening in that community. You're looking at it in a different way. You're like, if I don't say something, who's going to?
Exactly. And I feel that I have that responsibility, and I welcome it.
Tell me about what it's like to have your film screen, number one, and then there's Q&A. Coming up next weekend, you were on the Facebook with me, and Jackie's a teacher at Argo High School. She saw the post on my Facebook page, and she says, I'm taking my kids over there. So I said, you know what, I'm going to blue light him, and I'm going to blue light her, and then they're going to meet each other. All of a sudden, you guys have agreed to meet at the festival next weekend with her kids. That's a strong statement, number one, that you responded. Number two, that she decided that this was a film that she needed to take a group of high school students to see.
Yeah, I think that's very cool. I was going to be accessible to teachers, parents, community leaders. I don't shy away from stuff like that, and anybody who wants me to speak to their students or children, whatever group, church groups, community groups, whatever. I'm here. I'm available.
What is it like going back to these communities or these schools, like when you went to visit our kids and they're throwing these questions at you, and some of them are out of left field, how, and some of them are like, how can I be like you? All of a sudden you're out there and you're talking to these kids. So what does that feel?
I mean, it's very fulfilling. It's my way to give back, because when I was a child and I had all those questions and I was seeking, there was always somebody there to answer those questions. And so I'm just giving back.
Before we go, because we're talking about Mi Princesa, you in turn, being given the opportunity to make the film and be in the film festival, gave opportunity to actors and producer assistants and makeup people. I would imagine that everybody that's in the credits at the end of the movie are Chicago-based people. They might not have had that opportunity if not for you. So how did you go about getting all the Chicago people involved?
Well, I mean, I will say about 30% of the movie was shot in Chicago and 70% was shot in Puerto Rico.
Oh, that's right. I
So
was jealous.
So the credits are kind of split. But as far as the Chicago talent, most of them are just people that I know already, who just, step up to the...
Like the other film, it was just nothing like Dino Latino getting cut up.
Right. So, most of the time it's people that I already know. And then sometimes I just do a Facebook blast and I say, look, this is what I'm looking for, and then people just start contacting me and showing up.
And you just said 70% was filmed on the island that I've never been on, and I do want to go at some point. But what was it like to go back home, not Humboldt Park home, not Commercial Park home, not Boys and Girls Club home, the island home, and you've got a crew and you've got equipment and you're going to be able to go to Rio Priedas and do whatever it is that you want to do. Explain that feeling.
Oh my God, it's like a dream. It's definitely a dream come true, and to go back home, because I spent my early childhood in Puerto Rico. I came to Chicago at 8 years old. I was born in Chicago, but as a toddler, my family moved back. So I didn't know I was born in Chicago until I was 8 years old. So spending those early years in first and second grade in Puerto Rico, and then to go back to make a movie, to film, I mean, the island is so beautiful.
So you knew the island already because you
I
grew
knew
up
the
there.
island. I lived on and off about 3 times too. I went back as a teenager to live in Puerto Rico for like a year, and then I went back as a young man in my 20s. So I go every year. So I know the island very well, and to me that's home. And but to shoot a film there is what a blessing. It was awesome.
Baby, give me one more chance.
when I talk about never having been to Puerto Rico, there's two schools of thought. There are people that are telling me you don't know what you're missing, especially because you're Puerto Rican. And then there are people that say, man, it's not like what it used to be. So the economy must have taken a huge hit on Puerto Rico.
The economy took a huge hit, but that's that's the case everywhere in the United States anyway. So I mean, we weren't gonna dodge that bullet, but it's moving up just like every other place in the United States. Things are on the way up. We already hit the rock bottom. One thing that kind of bothers me a little bit is the way people talk negatively about the island and the violence in the island, especially, they don't have the perspective, I guess, that I have, being a Puerto Rican who lives in Chicago, because Chicago is the capital murder of the United States, and so when I
People
hear
go to Puerto Rico to escape.
right, and so when I hear them, trash talking the island and saying how horrible it is, and there's murders and this and that, I'm like, you guys don't know what you're talking about.
Well, it is interesting because you have some that talk about New San Juan, which is apparently it's Florida. Then you've got the old San Juan, which is what my parents would talk about, and then there's the barrio. It's like these different segments of Puerto Rico. But I guess that when you combine that all, that's what makes the island the island.
Yeah, totally. I mean, you have a mixture and you have a blend of everything, from the hills, the mountains, the farmland, and the city, the metropolitan area, the coast, the beaches, the surfers. You have a little bit of it all. The rainforest.
Now, when you shot Mi Princesa, did you go to each of those types of locations, or you had a specific thing in mind?
We had some scenes shot on the beach, on the coast. We had some scenes in Old San Juan, but that's about it. Kind of like when it comes to, we didn't go like into the rainforest and stuff like that. But we did some beach stuff. We did some coast. We did some Old San Juan.
So what are some of the next steps now? You're in the Latino Film Festival, which means that the movie's done, right? There's nothing else to do.
The movie's done. There's nothing else to do.
So now that it plays a festival, does it ever get to the point of multiple screens and being able to go out and see it if you don't make it to the festival? Will it be at the Hub anytime soon?
Yeah, the San Juan Theater on Division Street.
There you go.
And we can stop by Las Villas Bakery on Division and Damon. Yeah,
It's a bank now.
Yeah, that's a throwback, right? Yeah, and San Juan Theater became condos. But anyway,
You're not bitter, are you?
We need to take Division Street back, and I mean in a positive way. But that's another discussion for another day. No, the movie is gonna see the light of day right now. This is the world premiere, so it's gonna be showing at the AMC River East 21 in downtown near Navy Pier. It'll be April 12th, which when this airs, it'll be that same day.
Yeah.
April 12th at 3 p.m. They gave us the matinee so that families can go and watch it, with their children. Same thing with April 13th, which is that Sunday. For those of you who go to church, when you leave church, stop by, watch this movie with your family.
Let's start the party, I know you need it. Hot from the soul, ooh, can you feel it? Drop la carne, bass on the soda, hand me cerveza, light up the mota. There goes the page, you call up the honey, step to the front and chip in your money. Guys in the rise, the girls with bikinis, this is the party, I know you feel it. La raza, latina, latina, sudando, sudando. La raza, latina, y todas las chicas, todas las donas, nena. Turn it up, ayo. Turn it up, que sube, Turn it up, ayo. Turn it up, que sube el volumen. Y hasta allá, oh, y hasta allá, oh, y hasta allá, oh, y hasta allá, oh, La raza.
FM 1590 WCGO Radio in Chicago, where Chicago rules for Celebrity Hotline Conversations. We left off a little while ago talking to Carlos Jimenez Flores about the Latino Film Festival here in Chicago, his film Mi Princesa. and we actually, had a tape run out on us in the middle of you talking about the variety of festivals that the movie is screening in.
No, so aside from the Chicago Latino Film Festival, um, they have several satellites for the festival, other locations that are also screening movies, selected movies. So, Mi Princesa is also playing at the Latin American Film Festival in Elgin, at the Elgin Community College, and that'll be this Friday, April 11th. But by the time this airs, you know.
Well, we'll put it up. I'll put it up on podcast before then, so
Oh, okay.
we'll post it. We'll put it on the wakeupdancing.com, so
Okay.
it'll actually be premiered on podcast, and then eventually next Saturday it'll be on the AM radio.
Beautiful. So it'll be playing in Elgin at the community college there, April 11th at 5 p.m.
Wow, how cool is that? And Elgin selected because it's got a nice Latino community there now too. Elgin, Aurora,
Right.
Cicero, Berwyn, Burbank. Latinos have spread out above and beyond your Logan Squares and your Humboldt Parks than what it used to be. So I guess it's a good thing to get around and let other people exposed to this.
Absolutely. And, Elgin, people may not be able to make it to downtown Chicago. So here's an opportunity for those who live in the Elgin area to go check out the movie.
It's kind of a very cool, proud moment to be downtown at the AMC Theater. Bright lights, big city, it's huge, it's downtown. Your last movie premiered at the Portage Theater, which was a legendary landmark of a theater. So you didn't go to Emerson House to do this stuff. You've actually had some pretty good houses to premiere your stuff in, so you're doing something right.
Thanks. It's very, very humbling. I remember going as a teenager to the Portage Theater when it used to be a dollar show and watching Purple Rain.
Wow.
Yeah, that was cool. So to have a movie of mine screen in the same theater, it was just surreal. And right now, playing in downtown Chicago at the AMC, which the AMC is such a big theater, and to just be downtown having Mi Princesa screening is just awesome.
So you've already sat there and watched the screening, right?
At the AMC?
At the AMC, you've played it for theaters where you've sat in the audience?
Not Mi Princesa. Mi Princesa, this is the world premiere, so this is the first time that I'm
Oh,
going
that
to
is-
see it
that
on
is
the
even
big
cooler.
screen. I have not seen it on the big screen.
I cannot imagine what it's going to be like to sit in the theater and you're writing and you're filming and you're giving it directions. Now the audience gets to respond to what you've done.
Right.
It's like a stand-up comic. You get on stage, you tell a joke, and if they laugh, there's this validation, and if they don't laugh, there's a problem. So I guess since you haven't sat there yet with the audience, can you imagine what that's going to be like to the pops that you're going to get, the peaks, the valleys, the tears, the laughter, whatever it is that this movie's going to elicit while you're sitting there in the very same theater?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how it's gonna feel. I do know that I've had the privilege to sit with audiences and watch some of my work, some of my previous work, and it's always a rush, and it's always every single audience is different, and everybody sees your work differently. It's like to me, I look at it as it's a work of art. And you can't, as an artist, I can't tell people this is what you're looking at. It's almost like I created it, and here it is, and how you see it is how you see it, and I have to respect that.
So as a filmmaker, you're going to be critiqued by the new Roger Eberts and the new Gene Siskel's. Are you ready for people to praise you, obviously? But then there's always going to be those that'll pick at a plot line or a plant that was out of place or a shadow that they saw.
Right.
Are you ready for that? Because critics should be cruel.
Yeah, no, I'm totally cool with that because I mean, I don't want to be surrounded by just people who are yes people or people who are always praising you, and because when somebody critiques you, it sharpens my saw. It sharpens my vision because then, first of all, I already kind of know when something is not 100%. I already know, and sometimes you have to live with some decisions because production costs they rise if you try to micromanage, if you try to create perfection. There's no such thing. So sometimes when I'm looking at my movie, I already know that something's out of place. I already know that, I chose to, we do have the power of editing.
There's continuity issues.
Yes. So if I chose to live with a scene, even though I know that it's not true to the continuity of the film, it's like, so be it. I already know those. I've seen that. Now sometimes somebody may see something that I didn't even see, and that's cool too. But that's a lesson. And so the next time around, I'm already aware, and I file that in my mental cabinet. And the next time, I'll be looking out for X, Y, Z.
So I'm envisioning. I was at the Chicago Theater when I saw Purple Rain, and it was playing with Flashdance like 1984 ago. Wow. And in Purple Rain, Jerome Benton, who plays Jerome, and was Morris Day's buddy, and he was always holding up the mirror for Morris Day, always telling Morris Day how good his hair looked and how cool his outfit looks and how he's the best ever. Are you surrounded by those types that grew up with you and everything you do is wonderful, and listening to you speak, you kind of want somebody to tell you if there's a hair out of place and not telling you how perfect you are?
Yeah, I don't want a cheerleader. I don't want Jerome's in my life. So
some very, very, very cool and impactful words and a bunch of music. This week on WCGO Celebrity Conversation, Carlos Jimenez Flores run to the River East Theater downtown in Chicago to check out Meet Princesa. That is the video or the movie that is now playing. I'm going to check it out as well this weekend with Jackie and the kids from Argo High School. White Knights in the background. He will be at the History of Freestyle concert this weekend as well. In the meanwhile, thanks for tuning in, and thanks to Carlos for an incredible WCGO Celebrity Conversation. Au revoir, adios, sayonara, arrivederci, and bon appetit.
My booming system booming loud. The dance is swing and move and rock the crowd. I made hit songs for people to dance to. I'm not gonna stop, this is my chance to rhythm explode on a hip hop scene. Play your booming system loud, scream. Can what I plan, play a Sony, cause I'm the number one. Yes, the one and only who can make you dance, make you dance, make you dance to my booming system. Make you dance, make you dance, make you dance to my booming system. Make you dance, make you dance, make you dance to my booming system. Make you dance, make you dance, make you dance to my booming system. Party people pumping they fist like this, pumping they fist like this. Party people pumping they fist like this, pumping they fist like this. Party people pumping they fist like this, pumping they fist like this. Party people 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 pumping they fist like this. Like this. Like this. Make you dance, make you dance.